SABC News Prime Time, I'm Vabakshini Chetty. 17 miners have been treated for light injuries after a quake struck the country. The Geosciences Council has confirmed it's an earthquake measuring 5.5 on the Richter scale. The earthquake struck about 6 kilometers east of the mining town of Orkney in the northwest at a depth of 10 meters. The quake was felt as far as Botswana and Swaziland. South Africans from Durban to the Eastern Cape and even Cape Town took to social media to report on feeling the quake.
Orkney, a sleeping mining town. Some seismologists are speculating that acid mine drainage may have triggered the quake that has claimed one life. A 31-year-old homeless man was found under debris in Orkney, close to the epicenter of the quake.
The place was already being damaged by the people who are going there to take things illegally and sell them around the scrapyard here in town.
In this town, windows were blown out and roofs collapsed. Its residents are in a state of shock. AngloGold Ashanti says 17 employees at its Great Nolingwa and Moab Kutsong mines sustained minor injuries. Engineers are inspecting shaft infrastructure. The earthquake occurred near its Vaal River operations, which include Great Nolingwa and Moab Kutsong. Power to the mine was temporarily interrupted, but has since been restored. Across the country, buildings were evacuated as the quake shook homes and businesses for about 40 seconds. People rushed onto the streets. The Council for Geoscience says the tremor was caused by the release of pressure that has been building up underground in the Orkney mines. The released pressure caused the earthquake.
The first one happened in 2005. It was a 5.3 in magnitude, and in fact, unfortunately, some people were killed underground, and there was a lot of damage to the buildings above the ground in the Stilfontein region. So this is something that's happened in the past, and like I said, as a rule of thumb, one can expect it to happen in the future.
In Johannesburg, people rushed out of buildings.
I was busy in the kitchen making coffee. It was my tea time. Then all of a sudden the walls started shaking.
I was busy working and the next thing my chair is shaking. And I'm looking at the back to see who's shaking my chair. The next thing there's no one, and under my feet it was shaking badly. I threw everything in the dustbin.
It was so scary. It was shaking. I ran out of the office. I didn't know where I was going, but I just ran out.
An SABC crew filming near Louis Botha Avenue was also affected.
Rehad nailed it. I saw them.
In Durban, people were evacuated from buildings across the city. Aftershocks are still expected.
Let's get an update from our reporter who's in Orkney, Lizette Labuskatni. Good evening, Lizette. It's been a few hours since the quake struck. Is there still concern that aftershocks could occur? We seem to be having difficulty with that line to Lizette. We'll try to get her back later in the bulletin. This story, of course, going big on social media. Lots of people taking to Twitter to explain how they felt and what they were doing when the quake struck. Naleli saying, "I was so scared, I thought it was something big because the flat was shaking, but now I'm cool." Pule saying, "I felt the quake in Soweto and it was very scary." Miss Lady saying that tremor was worse than the one I experienced last year. We have strong structures to hold a force like today's tremor. Geraldine tweeting saying, "I did feel the tremor or the quake, but seeing footage on the news, I can only imagine how scary it was for those who really felt it." And Tito saying, "What an earth-shattering tremor felt in Shoshanguve, north of Tshwane, and I was in my office watching pens and paper trembling. Very scary." Thank you for your responses at SABC News Online.